The subject we're talking about today is two. That's why I asked Dr. Ramachandran to ask you to come with your copybooks. Have you all come with your copybooks?
Most of them.
I have two sections to share with you this time. That's the way I've collected my thoughts for you. First will be a question, and I'll look for your answers. And then would be a second where I will probably give you an idea to redefine education. How do we redefine? How do we look at education and by meaning success? That's what we will focus on. But in the first instance, I have a question to ask, okay? My first question is, what are the qualities you as youngsters, you think you need to know before you turn 30? What are the very important qualities which I will give you the researched answers? What is the research saying that you need to know before you turn 30? Because you are at a very important age of learning. There are two brilliant ages of learning. There are two ages of learning. One is early childhood, which is up to the age of 14. That's called early childhood. After that is the second stage is adolescence and above, and up to the age of 30. What are the qualities you think you need to have before you complete the age of 30, before you touch 30? So you got years to go. I want you to think and answer those questions, and then I will give you the researched answers which are helpful to you, and some of those answers I know you will not have. That's why I like this question. When I studied this, I realized that even I did not understand the answers to these, which are in fact wonderful. So they'll do you a lot of good. So number one, before you turn 30, and what you have to start doing now is coping with uncertainty. One of you said it, and that's why I made you clap it. All of you need to understand, how do you cope with uncertainty? Now in this, there will be many things which will fall. The result will fall, finances will fall, job loss will fall, loss of a near and a dear one will happen, climate change will happen, isn't it? So number one, coping with uncertainty. Now I'll explain to you. Let me explain to you. When we are small like this, we are very secure at the moment. Your fees is paid, right? Somehow the fees is coming. You're not worried, will my next month, by and large. I do not know, exceptions are always there. But you have a certainty. You have a home. You have good health. Even good, you have all of your health. You got your fees paid, whether your parents are paying or the bank is paying, doesn't matter. But you have the money to pay. You've got good health, and you've got all your five senses. You can see. Tomorrow somebody may lose the sight. Right? You can hear. Somebody may lose the hearing aid, need an hearing aid. Or somebody may lose a balance. Something may happen. You may lose your parent. You may lose somebody very dear to you. So please write down, all of you, coping with and preparing to deal with uncertainty. Let's write down these 7 points. Okay, great then. So first one is coping with uncertainty, right? Second, I'm going to tell you one thing more. When I was small, I thought parents will stay forever. I thought I would always be healthy. I thought my friends would be there forever. Isn't it? You always feel that whatever you have at this age, it's going to stay forever. So the first lesson you need to learn before you're 30 is the impermanence of all this. Nothing is certain. The only certainty is the way you respond to uncertainty. Did we know? Some things we don't even know. The floods in Tamil Nadu. Isn't it uncertain? Any rain sometimes is a drought and sometimes it's a flood. Are we prepared for that? Are we prepared for uncertainty? Was Tamil Nadu people, was Chennai's citizens prepared for floods? Yes or no? That's what I'm trying to examine. So you have to be prepared. That means if some crisis like this happens, you have to be mentally trained to deal with it and not cry on it. So nothing is certain. The only certain thing is the uncertainty. You have to prepare as a child, as a student, before you are 30, how to deal with uncertainty. Have you understood? How many wrote? This is very researched answer. I'm trying to tell you that this is your new learning of today is second. Second, some of you said this. Some of you said communication. The boy said communication. You said it, right? He was right. But communication how? Everybody's communicating. We all know the language. We all want to speak well. We all want to convey well. But not the communication which we see which is abusive. Not communication which is hurtful. Not communications which is disrespectful. But communication which is graceful. So now you add communication, but it's called graceful education. Graceful communication, which means you should know how to put your word across without insulting anybody. That basically, see the kind of jokes we sometimes do? So communication with grace, you must learn before you turn 30. Because these will all help you even in your interviews. But once it becomes your habit, it's communication with grace to the elders. Communication of grace to the less deprived. Communication of grace with people whose views you don't agree with. See the way we fight on the television? Have you seen panel discussions on television? How disgraceful they are. How fightful they are. How animous they are. How sometimes hostile they are. Isn't it? And how rude they are. Aren't they? So second thing you have to learn before you turn 30, that means both the training, all these trainings begin now. Because these are the things if you learn before you're 30, you're made. You're ready. You're good for the rest of your life. So learning to communicate with, speak the word. Grace. And grace means civility. Right? That means every time you utter words, you choose your words carefully. Second is communication with grace. All right? It's called decent conversation. You will always have a decent conversation and nothing rude or indecent. Third, which you've not said. None of you said, but I'm explaining to you, you said it. Like communication was said it. But communication how? You need to communicate, but you're already communicating. But communicating how is not rude. Third, which you said, respecting others. But respecting others who are having a difference of opinion from you. Respecting others with diversity. A Hindu or a Muslim respect each other. Hindu and a Christian respect each other's views. Respecting others those who have a diverse view from you. That's the third thing we need to learn. As youth in India, if every young man if they start learning these things, my friends, India would be a different country. Diversity, meaning somebody like for instance what's happened in Bangalore. Recently, just because of the color of the skin, somebody was pulled down and then injured and hurt. Was that the right thing to do? You have a difference of opinion. You may look different, you may speak a different language, you may have a different faith, but the thing you need to learn as good youngsters is respecting those who are different from you. A man respecting a woman. And he said it. That boy said it. And a woman understanding the That means both understand each other, because there are difference of opinions. It's like in a marriage. You see, if you learn this, all the three things are helping you save many accidents in life. You agree? Or you don't agree? Agree or not agree? Let's go to the fourth. Fourth is, we are not trained to ask. We are not trained to seek help, which has not come in your points. You need help, you must learn to ask. Those of us who have learned to ask for help, because we think, oh, big ego, how can I ask for help? And if I ask for help, I will be undermined. No. Say, I don't know. Learn to say no. I don't know. Could you please help me? No harm. Tell your friend, I don't know. Would you please help me? Asking for help. But once you have civil behavior, you know how to communicate, asking for help will get you help. You agree? Yes or no? You agree that you need to train yourself to ask for help and not feel shy. Oh, I'm shy. What will this think? Oh, I can't speak. Ask a question. No harm. Saying, don't mind, I don't know. Please forgive me if I'm wrong, but this is a thing I need to ask, or I need help. Next, being resilient. Being resilient means when you have a risk, you take risks. You start taking risks, but you have resilience to risk. You don't take tough decisions. Startups in our country is all about risk and resilience. Remember when the Prime Minister was launching this movement of startup, right? He was saying, you may fail. But all startups don't succeed in the first deal. Did Bill Gates succeed in the first deal? Did Steve Jobs succeed in the first deal? They failed, but what was there? They were continuing to take risks, and they were continuing to be resilient. Resilient means resolute. Resolute means that you'll not give up. You'll stay on. You'll not give up. You'll continue. Now you see, you said perseverance, you said all this, it fits there. All those qualities you need there. Patience. You cannot be resilient without patience. Somebody may have said courage. You cannot be resilient without courage. But resilience is perseverance plus courage plus patience, all these qualities. So being resilient, and look up the dictionary meaning and go back to the synonyms in the dictionary of resolute. Weak are very weak. We are very afraid. We don't ask and we give up. That's why startups are not happening as much. That's why more startups are happening elsewhere. How will startups happening from business schools like these unless you learn to be resolute, unless you're willing to take some risks? You understand? Next. You spoke about time management, did you? I want to say, spend your time, learn to spend your time and money carefully. It's two things, money and time. It's very, very important if you want to succeed and be ready, because if you learn to waste money now, and if you do not value money or value time, you will be a loser. You'll be a late starter. Those of us, young men and women, who carefully manage time and money when small, have everything today. By the time you're 40, you'll have plenty. Like, for instance, give me an example. When you start your first job, your first salary, and you don't have a home, and you want to have your own house, and you don't have health insurance, right? But you spend all your money. How will you, should you not, suppose you're earning 20,000 rupees a month. The salary is coming 20,000. Should you not put aside immediately some money as a blind account for your building a house one day? One day. Because you're only young. And if you keep saving, money will multiply. But if you start planning for your money now, somebody said planning. Yeah? Somebody said planning. It'll come. When you value and respect time and money, obviously it requires planning. But only planning will not help. It's respect for time and money which will involve planning. Get my point? So therefore, your time and money is very precious. I've seen my young V probationers, when we joined the service, some of us started to put aside some money for the house. And you know what? By the time I was 40, 45, I had a house of my own. I didn't need to live in the house. I had a government bungalow. But do you know what happened? I had a house. I could rent it out. I could pay back the rent. And I had an income, second income. Because I'd started to save from day one, which involved planning, which was respect. Otherwise, all 25,000, all 20,000, everything will be spent. Saying, no, I have salary of 25,000, I have salary of 50,000, I have salary of 1 lakh. So much I'll put in insurance, which is my health or my family insurance, and so much I'll put into a house whenever I wish to buy. That depends when it comes, doesn't matter. And even if you have your parents' house and you want to invest into more property, you put aside for your home. This planning, those of us who did it at the right age, from the beginning, had everything. And those of us who didn't, even after retirement, don't have a home, don't know what to do. Similarly, on your time management, same thing. If you spent well into reading, into skill upgradation, into continuing to sharpen your skills, continue to make good networks, you continue to did not waste time on useless friends, you have built yourself. But here are people who all the time, in every evening or weekends, they're jogging around and dancing away to useless stuff. You do it, but not every time. And to junk food, and to junk intoxicants, you are ruining your time. Having good friends and entertainment and dance and music is not a good thing, but wasting it and then making yourself unhealthy is a criminal. So you need to learn before 30 that smoking away, drinking away, intoxicants is waste of time and money. But those of you who learned it before 30 are rich because they've got more time, and your time is money. And money is time. Because it buys you luxuries. It gives you more time. Luxury gives you more time, isn't it? Or no? Agreed? So the very important thing is being very, very sparingly time and money. And last, but not the least, something which it came as a surprise to me, and something which I also didn't learn before I was 30. You'll be surprised to know this. You'll be surprised. Even I was surprised when I saw this research. And do you know what it is? Girls automatically know it. Boys don't. And that will be very helpful to the boys. It is learning to cook. It is learning to cook. It's not a question of a boy or a girl. If you learn to cook, you are very, very self-reliant. You are very innovative. You're entrepreneurial. You got lots of friends because you can cook so well that you'll invite them home saying, come home, I'll cook something for you. So it's not a male or a female trait. It's a human need. Something I did not learn. And if I were to spare some time for myself, do you know what I'll do? I will go and join a school to learn to cook. But at the moment, I just make a choice. Do I learn to go to cook or do I do something else? I'm making a choice. But the day I think I have a little spare time, I'll go learn to cook. For me, it'll no more be a waste of time. It'll be something very creative and very essential. Is it? You agree with me? And none of our homes train us to cook. If we help our parents, we learn from our parents. Like my parents said, my mother never asked me to help her in cooking. She helped me in organizing the table or everything, but never trained me to cook. She thought, and I was very busy in my sports and my studies and extracurricular activities, though she didn't ask me to spend, but I should learn to cook when I got some time to do. I didn't. due to which I'm dependent on others. Why should I be dependent? Why shouldn't I learn how to cook? So it's not a question of a boy or a girl. It's learning to cook. Now, how many boys will learn to cook? Raise your hands. Where are the others? Come on, boys. Come on, boys. You know how to cook? Yeah. How many will learn to cook? Raise your hands, boys. Those who know how to cook is fine. New boys who will learn to cook, raise your hands. Come on. Ramu, come and see how many will. Why can't we have a cooking class as a hobby? I'm telling you, this will be it's a very essential management tool. You can cook for your manager and a supervisor, and he'll be the boss saying, come home, I'll make you some very nice soup. He will say, great. And then the benefit of this is that you don't eat, you eat less of junk food because you're willing to cook. Isn't it? Yes, see, he's already thinking. He says, Dr. Ramachandran says, we'll have a contest for boys cooking. Cooking is not gender-based. Cooking is not a gender issue. Cooking is a human need. And why can't you be helping each other? And all the more, when, as you move on in the next few years, you'll have working partners. All of you will be at work. Therefore, you need to come and say, okay, today I'll cook for you, and tomorrow you will cook for me, and you can cook for each other. Isn't it? Isn't it? All right. So there can be many qualities. These are the 7 qualities I thought. Before you turn 30, why should you wait till 30? Why should you start not learning now? Why should you wait? But by the time you'll be 30, you will be a PhD in all these 7 things. Because you'll have become more resilient. You'll know how, when uncertainty happens, you'll say, I knew this will happen. Then something in communication, you will be civil in your communication. Every time you will listen to yourself, am I being rude? Am I being abusive? You'll be civil. Third, you learn to respect those people who are different from you. Different faith, different language, different geography, different gender. You will learn to respect each other. And then you learn to ask. You will be trained. This is an age you can ask. Because later on, others will ask you. Your children will ask of you. At the moment, you are still in the category when you are students. You're in the learning category. You can ask. And then, being resilient is not being flexible. Being resilient is being resolute, means not giving up. Flexibility will be part of taking it. But being resilient means not giving up. It's being gritty. It's being determined. The more you explain, the more there is to explain. Then learn to spend time and money carefully and learning to cook. You got it all? Has it made sense?